Hello there, this is MD here with you on GebZilla. Here we go again. Here we are in a new video. In this video, we are gonna talk about spot healing brush. The spot healing brush in Photoshop is ideal for retouching and removing imperfections from your photos, such as image sensor dust spots, small distractions, or objectionable elements, like power lines. With the right approach, it can also be used to remove other types of objects from an image. Let's check this out. I'm gonna begin this project by making a copy of the background layer by choosing Layer, New, Layer via Copy, and the reason that I'm making a copy layer is so that I can apply the retouching in a non-destructive way and have it is separate from the background layer. This will allow me to easily make corrections if some aspect of the retouching needs to be redone. I'm gonna double-click on the zoom tool at the bottom of the tool panel, which is a nice shortcut for zooming up to 100%, and then I'll press down on the space bar to get the grabber hand, and I just want to arrange this so I can see all of the reflections of the Washington Monument. I'll come over and get the spot healing brush tool, and up in the options bar for this tool, you can see that there are 3 types of healing that we can apply. Content aware is the default, and this is what I tend to use most often. It's a good choice if you are repairing areas that contain an element of a pattern, such as the rippled surface of the water in this photo. Proximity match often works quite well if the surrounding areas are consistent in terms of color and detail. For now, I'm gonna leave this set to content aware, and I'm gonna resize my brush. You can see it here over the monument just above this goose, and I'm gonna do that by using a shortcut of tapping on the right square bracket key several times to make the brush cursor larger. If I tapped on the left square bracket key, it would make it smaller. I'm gonna remove this goose that is fast asleep here over the reflection. I don't need to define any area as a sample point to copy detail as I do with some Photoshop retouching tools. I'm just brushing over it, and what the spot healing brush is doing is looking outside the area that I'm defining with the brush stroke to figure out the best way to blend that surrounding color and detail into the area I'm brushing over, and it has done a pretty good job. I'm just gonna go over a couple of these areas again, just to smooth out any little imperfections that are drawing attention to themselves. There we go, that's looking good. Alright, let's tackle another object removal in this image. I'm gonna hold the space bar down to get the grabber hand, and I'm gonna arrange the image so I can see these 2 construction cranes in the distance. And let me zoom up one more level. I'll do that with a shortcut, Command plus on Mac, or Control plus on Windows. So, since the sky surrounding these cranes is relatively consistent in terms of color and detail, I'm gonna try the proximity match method for this, and I'm gonna keep my brush size the same here. It's at about 45 pixels, and I'm just gonna brush over most of those cranes to see how well that works. And it's working pretty well. Let me actually come over part of that a little bit more. There we go. Now sometimes, when you get closer to an area, as the edge of the monument here, a proximity match may not work as well. There we go. You can see that's where it sort of fails. So let me undo that. Choose Command plus Z, and let me just set that back to content aware, and let me go over that again. There we go. A much better job. And now I'll take out the rest of this crane here that is near the monument, and make my brush size a little bit smaller to have a little bit more control. Alright, that's looking good. And let's take out the rest of this crane here. Now let me show you a trick that is sometimes useful. Oftentimes, you need to tell Photoshop to not sample from a certain area. So what I'm gonna do is get the lasso tool. And let me actually zoom up one more time. And I'm going to use the lasso to make a lasso selection of the base of that crane. But I'm gonna exclude the building underneath. I'll tap J to go back to my spot healing brush tool. And now, let's just go over this again. And you can see that that's doing a really good job there. Choose Command +0 or Ctrl +0 on Windows to go back and fit the entire image on the screen. And I'll just turn the top layer off and on a few times by clicking on its eye icon to evaluate how effective that retouching is. And I think it's actually working pretty well. There are several retouching tools in Photoshop that can be used to remove objects from an image, as we saw in this tutorial. For removing small or simple elements, the spot healing brush is very easy to use, and it does an excellent job. And finally, here we go, we are done for today. Thanks for watching. MD was with you here on GebZilla.